So I'm not going to be using any slides, so you need to be very carefully listen to me what I'm saying. What is sustainability and responsibility mean to me? That's the first thing. So I'm a country, it's called Bangladesh, it's called Bangladesh. And I represent the fashion worker there, which is like apparel worker, in other words that I can say. We have 4 million workers are working in these factories, making clothes for Western country, pretty much all the brands you are sourcing from. So when we talk about the sustainability, what does it mean for our workers? It's not a sustainable fashion or sustainable jobs that I see in the market today. The jobs that gives us a 53 euros a month, which is not enough for one person cost in back home in Bangladesh, let alone if she has 2 kids in her family. It's not a sustainable apparel. It's not a sustainable clothes. It's not a sustainable fashion that we have been talking. And it's not a sustainable management. The work that putting us in a retaliation when we try to speak up, that's not a sustainable fashion. The work that gives us and let us die in Rana Plaza, that's not a sustainable fashion. The factory that, the industry, basically, it is dominated by the women. It's 80% women workers are working in those factories. When they are working with an enormous number of gender-based violences, then it's not a sustainable apparel that I consider. And it is nothing that, I just took from somewhere. I'm experiencing this in last 29 years. I started working in this factory when I was 12. I went to the factory with my 10-year-old brother. I would be working 450 hours in a month and making only $6. And that I all went through because I did not know how much I supposed to pay, how long I supposed to work. But my manufacturers definitely know. They knew that how much I supposed to pay. They knew that I supposed to work 8 hours. All these brand and retailers who is talking about CSR policies today, those had this code of conduct. Since that beginning, they all knew that I supposed to not work in that age, in that factory, and making that money in that sweatshop condition. But I had to been through. When Rana Plaza happened, everyone was talking about that. It's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. The factory that has been collapsed with over 4,000 workers left 1,138 die and left over 1,000 injured. And after that, they all are saying it's a wake-up call. No, it wasn't. And number-wise, it was a wake-up call. But if we talk about accident-wise, it was even happened in 1990, while a factory fire killed 29 workers, including the factory owner. The reason was the doors was locked. When workers was working inside the factory, the management padlocked the door from the outside. But still, the law was there. Still, all these brand and retailers would know that it is illegal 30 years when we lose over a few thousand workers, like over 4,000 workers in the factory fire or collapses. Then they came with, it's a wake-up call. I would say no, it's not. What I mean sustainability, it is a jobs with dignity. A safe workplace, a living wage, a voice at a workplace, and a workplace that gender-based violence-free. That's called sustainability. The sustainability I understand, that is not ruining my Mother Earth. That is not ruining our ecological system. The sustainability I believe on, no to fast fashion. Buy a sustainable clothes. Pay enough and that money should go to workers as well. The sustainability, I believe, and I mean, it is enforceable brand agreement, not the all voluntary pieces that exist at this moment, which claims that they are improving the working condition, which is not true. The brand COC, the brand CSR, has been failed to improve any working condition, failed to improve, save our workers' lives. Sustainability that I mean and I believe on, that is Accord on Bangladesh Fire and Building Safety. That has been signed between the brand and retailers and unions locally and globally, and which include workers' voice, which include workers throughout the inspections, which go back to workers with the follow-up report and ensure these factories are safer. I believe on this accord because it's a legally binding agreement. When I say legally binding agreement, it means any company, those are going to fail or are failing to comply with the clauses of accord, will see the consequences of suing them in their native country. That is sustainability that I believe on, because that will ensure a safe workplace for workers where I'm from. And why I'm saying so? When we were losing over 100 workers every year, either factory collapse or fire. In 2016, after Accord started working, the death toll was 0. That is called sustainability. The sustainability I would believe in if these companies come together and sign a legally binding agreement again and ensure that all their supply chain workers would have a living wage, then it would be a sustainability for me. The great speaker who is speaking just before me, he was amazing when he says that the book he was referencing, or the slide I saw, that come on, don't talk about all this old philosophy. I would say, come on, don't talk about all these voluntary pieces anymore. Talk about a due diligence law. The law we have in Bangladesh, if it applies, we can control these manufacturers. We can, put pressure onto them that you have to implement all these clauses. But who are the reckless people? It is the brands and retailers. There is no law, except France has one at this moment, or maybe UK is working on it. But if we talk about German government, no, they are not there. So talk about that. Talk about due diligence law. That will put enough responsibility to these brands with the accountability to make a real change, not just to talk. That we need to talk about it, that I believe. So come on, let's work together and do that. Things will never change if we just fight in Bangladesh or in Myanmar when our government is our legislator. Our factory owners. Like in our parliament, 1/3 of parliamentarian members, they own directly a group of garment factories, whom we should fight with. In Myanmar, 25% of their parliamentarian members are militaries. What do you expect? So if we can work together, then we can bring changes. So please, come on, let's talk about due diligence. Let's talk about legally binding enforcement agreements, not just CSR policies that has been constantly proven wrong that it will improve the working condition in the production countries. Thank you.
And we don't have the equivalent information of the same degree of comparability, quality, that's required to be reported for so-called non-financial information, environmental, social, and governance information, which is absolutely fundamental to creating sustainable capital markets to support sustainable development.